In the vibrant forest of Grimgar, a party of volunteer soldiers was trying to hunt some goblins down. This party was composed of some young people named Haruhiro, Manato, Yume, Shihoru, Ranta and Moguzu. These people were still trainees who were in the forest, looking to make a living out of whatever they could sell after killing those goblins. The team was a team made up of strangers named Team Manato, and the group was living in an old tower just outside the main town of Ortana. The group was getting along really well, but they were feeling like something wasn't quite right, as they would randomly happen to say words like video games, but at the same time had no idea of what any of them meant. This trend was the same throughout the group, and we get to know how these people, who were strangers just days ago, got involved in Grimgar as Haruhiro shared his oldest memory. 2 days ago, out of nowhere, Haru opened his eyes in the lands of Grimgar with no previous memories, and he came across multiple people who had no clue of where they were either. A bartender told him that they were in Ortana, Grimgar, and he also explained how in order to survive in this world, these people needed to work the only paying job available in this world, and that was becoming a soldier. The people were told that the Red Moon Army was busy managing the main town's order, so the ones capable of fighting left to join them, while the ones left behind formed a team of volunteer soldiers together. Hunting goblins was no joke, and to get somewhere in their hunt, Team Manato splits up to choose a class of their preference at various guilds, and that way acquire skills. Haru chose to become a thief, and in the thief guild, he met his mentor Barabar, who looked after him for next 7 days. Haru's training had gone through its first phase, and by the time he came back to join the team for more hunting, they had also completed basic training for their fighting classes. Leader Manato became a priest, Yume a hunter, Shihoru a mage, Moguzu a warrior, and Ranta became a dark knight. The team starts off their day looking forward to finally getting some goblins down by sunset, but the day only brings them disappointment, as even though this was their 13th one on Grimgar, they had to leave empty-handed, hoping that tomorrow can always work out. Later at night, Haru was having a hard time sleeping when he noticed Manato not being in his bed. Haru heads out to have a look around, and outside, he runs into Manato, who is returning from a place in town called Shelly's Tavern. This was the place where many volunteer soldiers hung out, and Manato explains how he went there to drink so he can gather more info for the team. Haru was already up, so he decided that he might as well chat with Manato for some time. Both guys started telling stories from their training at the guilds, and just like that, the night passed away, with Haruhiro constantly being bothered about the red moon in the starry sky, not knowing why he missed a white one. The next day, Manato gets some more info for his team, and they manage to find a solo goblin as it was getting some fresh water. Team Manato begins the attack, but from the get-go, their clumsy coordination and abilities put them at a disadvantage. The guys were missing shots and running around wild when Haru got stabbed by the goblin, and that granted Ranta a chance to attack the goblin. These guys were already terrified after seeing the goblin screech for its life, and they start shaking even more when it gets up while they were trying to check the loot on its body. After some struggle, Ranta had to go crazy and relentlessly stab the goblin to death, but that affected the soft minds of the whole group, and instead of celebrating, they got depressed. Manato and Haru sold the loot items for 130 copper coins, and afterwards, the team split up so they can calm themselves down in their free time. The group roamed around the town the whole time, and in the evening, they reunited at the bridge where they watched the sunset together and hoped that tomorrow would be a day of progress. On the next day at breakfast, Haru runs into Moguzu in the kitchen, and after seeing his love for cooking food, Haru gets a feeling as if Moguzu's interest was instilled in his heart way before he found himself in Grimgar. The boys in the team end up in a bit of a trouble the next morning, as Yume lectures them for peeping into the girls' bath, and while the others were apologizing, Ranta's arrogance earns him a kick in the face. The group was hoping to make some more money after having their first goblin down successfully, but the situation goes quite the opposite, and they end up in a bad mood. This situation continued for a good few days, and Team Manato came to a point where they were so dirt poor that they had to wash their clothes every night before bed. Haru was still optimistic despite the situation, and on the next day, the team ends up coming across a ruined city named Damuro. The city was used by the goblins to stay, and with some help from Haru's scouting skills, Team Manato gains easy chances to kill goblins in their sleep. The team repeats the same process a few times, and this plan earns them a whopping 4 coins of silver. This was big money for the team, and it lets them freely buy some cheap new gear and clothes. After having some time of enlightenment throughout the day, at nighttime, Manato has a conversation with Haru where he explains how this progress would not have been possible if he was alone. Haru also appreciates the support, and after telling Manato about how he is grateful for his friendship and leadership, Haru remarks that after 23 days in Grimgar, it feels like he has gotten used to the red moon at last. Some time passes by, and on an early morning, Manato was on his way out when he happens to run into Shihoru, and he tells her to accompany him. Manato takes Shihoru to a bridge where he was going to feed some doves, and after seeing her interested in them, the captain encourages Shihoru to go ahead and do it for him. Shihoru was nervous around the guys ever since the first day she found herself in Grimgar, but with this little gesture, Manato made her way more comfortable around the rest of the team. After grabbing their gear, Team Manato heads right over to Damuro so they could hunt some more goblins. The group had unlocked some new skills after more training at their own guilds, and that massively helped them in fighting against the 3 goblins they had planned on killing today. The goblins who were giving them a lot of trouble were easily taken down this time with decent teamwork, and that really showed how much these trainees had grown as a team. The group had wrapped up their first target pretty quickly, so they decided to sit down and relax within Damuro before moving again. While relaxing, Manato praises all of his teammates, and he tells everyone about their qualities except Haru's. As it was already afternoon, the team decided that they should hunt 3 more goblins, and even though Haru wanted to know what Manato thought of him, he chose to postpone it, assuming that he could do it later anyways. As the team moves forward, Haru gets shot by a goblin, and the rest gets in some serious trouble as goblins way above their abilities had joined the battle. Manato tells the others to hold back while he heads in and heals Haru. The team leader manages to get Haru out successfully, but while Team Manato was retreating, a goblin shoots Manato with an arrow. As the area was not safe at all, Manato decides to keep moving forward, but as soon as the team makes it to a safe spot, the guy passes out due to blood loss. Manato is unable to heal himself due to his condition, and with him being the only healer on the team, the rest start to panic. Haru instructs the others to pick Manato up, and they rush towards Manato's guild leader, seeking medical help for him. By the time the group made it to the guild, it was already too late as the head priest revealed that he cannot bring someone back from the dead. This news spreads a wave of despair among the whole team, as just moments later, they were happy at their joint progress. The situation gets Haru extremely emotional as he genuinely considered Manato his friend, but the priest tells him to calm down and give Manato a proper funeral if he didn't want him to become the no-life king's servant. Haru chose to bury their friend without the financial help of the head priest, and after cremating Manato that night, drenched in sadness, Team Manato stood by his grave, weeping as their dear friend's ashes got carried by the wind. The grave and cremation of Manato had cost the group a whole silver coin that was equivalent to 100 copper ones, but in a situation like this, all of them were too dispirited to worry about something as futile as mere money. This incident affected the whole team badly, and that led the girls and boys to drift further away from each other. Haru takes the boys to Shelly's tavern, where they sit down to discuss what to do now. All 3 of the boys were disturbed, and they started pointing fingers at each other. Ranta was even ready to quit his job, but Moguzu yells at them and brings the other 2 back to their senses. The boys calm down for now, and while they were getting drunk to escape reality, a carefree guy named Kikawa approaches them. The guy was a full-fledged volunteer soldier, and as he was previously acquainted with Manato, he offered to help the boys out. As priests were more than likely to die due to their healing abilities, Kikawa lets the boys in on some sauce, and he tells them about a female priest who they might be able to recruit. Haru takes the party's leadership for now, and he recruits a priest whose name is Mary. Even though Haru wanted the party to sort of get back on track, they simply were not able to work together as Mary was a sullen person, just like Haru was told by Kikawa. Haru took the team back to the ruins for a couple of hunting sessions, but he wasn't able to get the teamwork he was looking for. The boys crash back at Shelly's tavern, where they talk about getting their soldier badges next, when a soldier named Renji approaches them. Renji was a member of the Red Moon, and as a gift, he offers Haru a gold coin for going through the despair of losing their team's captain Manato. Even though this money would have been enough to get the soldier badges the team needed next, Haru humbly turned Renji down, and afterwards, he realized that the problem with their teamwork was not due to Mary alone. Ever since Manato's death, Haru hadn't talked things out with the girls, so he heads back home and tells Yume to open up or else he wouldn't know what's bothering her. Yume explains that both she and Shihoru were in constant pain as well. Yume hugs Haru and he realizes that he cannot run all this alone and that he needs to let his team in on the problems so they can sort them out together. The pair cries its heart out, and after a while when they were cuddling, Shihoru ends up seeing them, and from her perspective, they seem to be busy with some personal stuff. Shihoru assumed that Haru and Yume were in a relationship, but after coming to know about the truth, she feels bad and starts apologizing. The commotion leads the other two boys to wake up as well, and after overhearing that Haru did something with Yume, Ranta couldn't help himself but to get curious. Haru was trying to handle the situation with Ranta, but Yume stepped in and made the night even more chaotic after revealing that Haru was just hugging her. Ranta is decimated by Haru's success with the girls, and while the group is having their next meal, they wonder how they could get friendlier with Mary. Mary stayed at her separate inn, and after meeting up outside of Demuro on the next day, the group had a hard time getting along with her once again. Throughout their team-up, Mary only healed her teammates in certain situations, and after the group was done with today's hunt, Haru gets curious and asked why she's not healing smaller wounds. Mary was cold and she still didn't give a proper answer, which made the group concerned about her. The group heads over to the tavern afterwards, and while they were having a chat, they noticed Mary entering the place. Mary was talking to someone from the Orion Guild, and since the teamwork wasn't quite there among the group and they weren't doing all that well either, at night, Haru sits down outside of their place to wonder if he should be the one taking Manato's place. Haru didn't want to take all this burden himself, but that night he sees a vision of Manato and things change for him. Team Manato officially becomes Team Haruhiro, and our boy finally starts seeing those easily fixable issues among the team when he tries to analyze their fighting styles. Moguzu was lacking a helmet, so Haru offered to chip in and get him a good one. On a goblin ambush, Haru noticed how Mary protected Shihoru with her staff. This was the very first time Mary acted a bit less cold with the others, and this change made Haru believe that they can actually form a healthy relationship with Mary. Mary's past was still unknown to the rest, so after the day's hunt, Haru takes the team back to the tavern where they reach out to the same guy from Orion, who Mary was talking to, so they can know a little more about her. That guy introduced himself as Mary's ex-teammate Hayashi to the group, and he revealed how Mary wasn't always the cold one. Mary was a lively priest who helped with small injuries gladly, but on one adventure, a slight mistake cost the lives of 3 of her teammates. As Mary didn't have magic to spare to heal her friends, she took the blame on herself, stopped smiling, and started questioning her abilities as a healer. Mary was also going to die inside that mine, but Hayashi was the one who dragged her out of it. They didn't know how exactly they were able to get back to the surface, but afterwards, the Orion Guild was the one who found them and took them both in. Mary had almost lost herself inside that mine, and she even left Orion as facing Hayashi regularly was really tough for her. Haru realized that the mine incident was the reason Mary was conserving her magic with Team Haruhiro as well, and after coming to know about the whole story, the group gathers out in town to discuss how to face Mary from here on out. Shihoru suggests that they should keep trying to befriend her, but Ranta was bitter for some reason, and he told the others to just stop worrying about it. Haru had finally started to see his team from a leader's perspective, and he now understood that Ranta was upset due to his mistakes. Haru apologizes to Ranta for not paying attention as the team leader, but even then, Ranta still felt like befriending Mary would be impossible for them. The team continues to head back to Demuro, where while it was raining, Haru almost blows his and Yume's cover during scouting for the team. After coming back from that downpour, Haru confronts Mary, and not knowing how to talk to her, he decides to tell her about Manato. Haru explains how his team lost their friend, leader, and priest with Manato as well, but they had no choice other than continue to live life. Haru admits that their team of leftovers need a priest to survive, and he, alongside the rest, openly tells Mary that they would like to be her friends. Sharing the story didn't fix the awkward situation immediately, but over the next few days, Mary started interacting more and more with the others. The team was getting along, and their daily goblin hunt was helping a lot with their skill levels. The group continued to hunt goblins after goblins, and now they were at a point where they were famous at the tavern as the Goblin Slayers. The hunting was not for nothing though, as it helped them learn skills, get better armor, and even improve their teamwork. Haru was also finally able to convince Mary into joining them at dinner. Team Haruhiro were getting better day after day, and with the new equipment to help them out, they were finally able to look at challenges beyond these ruins of Damuro. Tougher challenges were indeed awaiting Haru's team, but while he was sitting at night envisioning Manato, the guy was proud of how far this team of leftovers had come. Haru was at a point in this random journey he found himself on when he had stopped continuing his days in Grimgar and was more focused on leading his team, and that now he was able to unite under one roof. And that brings us to the end of today's recap. Thank you for sticking till the end, and let us know the show you want to see recap next. Don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.